Most people never realize that the voice inside their head is not actually them. It's programming. Old sentences. Repeated emotions. Fear recycled so many times that it starts sounding like truth. And the scary part is you've probably been listening to it your whole life. Every time you wanted to change, it was there. Don't even try. You always fail. You're not disciplined. People like you never become successful. And after hearing it enough times, you stopped questioning it. You just accepted it. Not because it was true, but because it was familiar. That's how the mind traps people. Not with chains. With repetition. You wake up tired even after sleeping. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You watch other people become confident, focused, successful while you sit there feeling stuck inside your own head. And the worst part is you can't even explain why. From the outside your life might look normal, but internally it feels like you're fighting a war nobody sees. You overthink everything. Simple decisions become mental battles. You replay conversations in your head for hours. You imagine failure before you even begin. You want to improve your life, but somehow your own mind keeps pulling you backward. And eventually you start believing you're the problem. But you're not broken. You've just been programmed by years of repetition you never consciously chose. Think about it. Nobody is born hating themselves. Nobody comes into the world believing they're lazy, unattractive, weak, or incapable. Those ideas were learned slowly. Through experiences. Through criticism. Through failure. Through comparison. Through the environment around you. Maybe you grew up hearing constant negativity. Maybe people only noticed your mistakes. Maybe you failed once at something important and your brain decided to protect you from ever trying again. Maybe social media convinced you that everyone else is ahead while you're falling behind. The mind records all of it. And then one day, without realizing it, you start living according to those recordings. That's why some people sabotage themselves the moment life starts getting better. Because deep down their mind is still attached to an old identity. An old version of themselves. One that feels safe in struggle because struggle is familiar. Your brain loves familiarity more than happiness. Read that again. Your brain does not automatically care about your dreams. It cares about patterns. If you've spent years thinking negatively, doubting yourself, procrastinating, and expecting disappointment, your mind begins treating those things like home. So even when opportunities appear, your subconscious tries to pull you back toward what feels emotionally familiar. That's why change feels uncomfortable. Not because it's wrong. Because it's unfamiliar. People think transformation happens through motivation. It doesn't. Motivation fades fast. Real change begins when you become aware of the mental loops running your life. Because once you see the pattern, you stop becoming controlled by it. Most thoughts are automatic. That's the problem. You don't consciously decide to doubt yourself. It happens instantly. Someone ignores your message and suddenly your mind says, they probably don't like me. You make one mistake and instantly think, I ruin everything. You see someone doing better than you and immediately feel behind in life. The reaction is automatic because the programming is deep. But automatic doesn't mean permanent. This is where your life can start changing. Not overnight. Not magically. But realistically. Because reprogramming your thinking is not about pretending everything is positive. It's about interrupting destructive patterns before they become identity. There's a difference between saying I failed and saying I am a failure. One is an experience. The other becomes a self-concept. And once something becomes identity, the mind works hard to protect it. Even if it hurts you. That's why you have to start paying attention to the language inside your own head. Most people never do. They listen to themselves all day without questioning a single thought. Imagine believing every random stranger you met. That's what many people do with their own mind. Every negative thought gets accepted as fact. But not every thought deserves your trust. Sometimes your mind is speaking from fear, not truth. Sometimes it's speaking from old pain. Sometimes it's repeating something someone said to you years ago. And sometimes it's simply addicted to negativity because negativity became normal. Awareness changes everything. The moment you notice a destructive thought, instead of automatically obeying it, you create space between you and the programming. That space is power. Because now you have a choice. You can continue feeding the old identity, or you can start building a new one. And no, this doesn't mean standing in front of a mirror repeating fake affirmations you don't believe. Real mental reprogramming is quieter than that. It happens through repetition, action, and evidence. Small evidence. That matters. If you constantly tell yourself you're undisciplined, then start proving the opposite in tiny ways. Wake up when you said you would. Finish one task completely. Go for a walk even when you don't feel like it. Keep one promise to yourself every day. Confidence is not built through thinking. It's built through evidence. Your brain believes what you repeatedly show it, not what you occasionally say. That's why your habits matter so much. Every action is a vote for the identity you're creating. When you procrastinate every day, you reinforce the idea that you can't trust yourself. When you avoid hard things, you teach your brain that discomfort is dangerous. But when you take action despite resistance, something shifts internally. You begin rewriting the story. And at first it feels strange. You'll still hear the old voice. You'll quit anyway. This won't last. Who do you think you are? That voice doesn't disappear immediately, because you're fighting years of conditioning. But every time you act differently, even in small ways, the old programming weakens. This is why your environment matters too. If you surround yourself with negativity all day, your mind absorbs it. The music you listen to, the content you consume, the people around you, the conversations you repeat, all of it shapes your internal world. People underestimate how much their mind gets trained by repetition. If every day starts with doom scrolling, comparison, drama, negativity, and noise, don't be surprised when your thoughts feel chaotic. Your mind reflects what you feed it. Protect your mental environment like your future depends on it. Because it does. And understand this clearly. Reprogramming your thinking is not becoming emotionless. You will still feel fear. You will still have bad days. You will still overthink sometimes. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness and control. There's a huge difference between feeling negative emotions and becoming controlled by them. A disciplined mind still feels resistance. It just doesn't obey it every time. That's real strength. Not never struggling, but refusing to let the struggle define you. Most people spend their entire lives trapped inside mental patterns they never chose. They repeat the same cycles, make the same excuses, carry the same fears, and then wonder why nothing changes. But you can interrupt the cycle. You can decide that the version of yourself created by fear, doubt, and past experiences is not the final version. You can train your mind the same way it was trained against you. Through repetition, through consistency, through daily proof. And one day, without realizing it, your internal voice changes. Not because somebody saved you, because you stopped abandoning yourself. You stop seeing challenges as proof that you're weak. You stop panicking every time life gets difficult. You stop needing constant motivation to move forward. You become calmer, sharper, more intentional. The same mind that once destroyed your confidence starts protecting your future. That's the real transformation. Not becoming somebody else. Finally becoming conscious of who you've been all along underneath the conditioning. Because your life follows your dominant thoughts. Always. If you think like a victim long enough, you start living like one. If you think growth is impossible, you stop trying. If you constantly tell yourself you're behind, lost, incapable, or unlucky, your actions slowly begin matching that identity. The mind listens carefully to what you repeat. So be careful what becomes your inner language. Right now, somewhere deep inside you, there's probably a version of yourself waiting to emerge. A calmer version. A focused version. A stronger version. But it cannot appear while you keep feeding the same destructive patterns every single day. You don't need a completely new life overnight. You need a new pattern. A new internal conversation. a new standard for what you allow your mind to repeat. Because once you reprogram your thinking, you stop reacting to life the same way. And when your reactions change, your decisions change. Your habits change. Your future changes. Everything changes after that. The moment you stop believing every negative thought, you take your power back.